It's here, the HERCULES Brushless 20V Cordless 2-stage vacuum pump. Let's get this guy open and we'll go over some of the specs and stuff that they claim, and then we'll see if they're telling the truth or not. Out of the box, we see that it does come with oil. Don't know what kind of oil it is, but we'll use this oil, not the oil I recommend. Ooh, 2 desiccant packs, nice. Okay, very small footprint. Here was your battery. Here's your specs and your serial number for your, warranties. There's a whole parts breakdown on this, so you should ideally, when Harbor Freight releases that stuff, you should be able to get individual parts. So if you break the handle, you should be able to buy a handle. It does have a little bit of oil in there, maybe just residual, but we'll be sure to fill it up before we turn it on. And we'll take all these tags off. Alright, so they advertise a 60-minute runtime with a 5 amp hour battery. So I got a 5 amp hour battery here, full. Okay, we'll be using this. And then let's go ahead and fill our oil. And like I said, we're going to be using the oil that it came with in the container. Well, help me. Thanks. Perfect. Put our battery in. There we go. Now we've got 3 ports here, which is good because we have our standard quarter flare. We have our automotive. So this is your 3/8 automotive. And then we have a 1/2 inch. So for higher flow hoses and stuff like that, the dudes that want to pull a vacuum down to 1 micron and do it in a second. So that's what that port's for. But we'll open these up. We've got an isolation valve here, so that's good. Let's look at actually some of the things on here. So on here, the first thing, obviously 2-stage draws down to 23 microns. Internal backflow check valve keeps the oil from entering into the AC system, so it's got a check valve in the body. Oil sight gauge for viewing the oil level, which we just saw, and then the 3 fittings that we just saw. Large oil filled port, cool, awesome. Isolation valve for isolating the pump from the system with a 1/4 turn ball valve, so that way you can do your decay and all that fancy stuff. It is a DC motor, allows for fast evacuation in a design weighing only 7.8 pounds without battery. We'll get a weight with battery. And then lightweight construction, blah, 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 battery platform. Cool. Awesome. Down here we got some more stuff. So 1.6 horsepower, 2 CFM, 23 microns, 3 pascals, 2-stage, all the fittings. Oil capacity 4.4 ounces, dimensions, and then weight. And then, yes, 5-year warranty. So that is great. And this is a tool only, so you need to get your own battery and charger. So this is tool only. Alright, so let's get this over here. And again, here's that isolation valve. When it is this way, it is closed, and then that way, it's open. So let's start this up. There is a light right up here, so we should be able to see that. So that was nice soft start. We'll recheck our oil level to make sure that it is still good. And yes, it is. So now let's hook up a micron gauge and see how many microns it can go down to. So just a quick explanation of the hoses. So we've got our larger hoses here. That'll be your 1/2 inch there. And that'll let you obviously pull in a lot more flow through a larger hose as compared to a standard quarter fitting. So that one would go here, or you use that one, obviously one or the other, or the automotive one on here, which is typically what your 134A can taps will have. This is the same thread pitch as that one there. One more thing I wanted to mention specifically with the automotive port, the 3/8 port here, is there's a picture on their website of the pump, and it shows this, what seems to be an Icon automotive AC manifold. So I'll be keeping an eye out for that. Hopefully that comes out sometime soon. It wasn't shown anywhere in SEMA, so I'm wondering this is a newer thing. All right, first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a reading straight off of the pump. And then I've got a little fixture that I've introduced non-condensables into, so we can take a look at that. So let's go ahead and turn on our micron gauge. I've been using this micron gauge for quite some time, but I keep my things nice. Okay, we're going to do microns. Let's go ahead and turn this on. All right, as we saw, it pulls down in microns down to 4, right? Whether or not that's real accurate or not, but it seems like whenever we go isolate, we might have a leak either at my micron gauge or somewhere in one of these fittings. I could go around and put nylog on everything and see how it does. But let's actually put this in copper and steel and other things that I've introduced a drop of water into, and it's been sitting for a while. So let's see if we can pull down a vacuum in that. All right, what I have here is something I built many decades ago. Whenever I went to HVAC school, we built this little jig here. We go from steel to copper, back to copper. We do flare fitting, burn a hole in, anywho. This has got just 1 or 2 drops of water in it. I'm going to put a T on here, and then we'll be able to pull out the air and then boil off water that may be still in there. Well, that we know is still in there. So let me set this up. Okay, I still have valve cores in here, so this isn't, obviously we're not trying to do speed here. We're just trying to test this little new unit. Okay, just hand tight. See if I can get it to rest here. Okay, now let's turn this on. Alright, so we're able to get down to 470. I think it's still trying to work blowing the water off that, or this thing is so old that it may have developed a leak somewhere. Here. So there's a lot of joints in here. But we'll try this again. I'm going to put a valve in between here to take all these fittings out of the loop and see if we hold at 470, 460 microns. And then perhaps maybe we got a leak or something going on right here. Don't know yet, so we'll figure that one out. We're going to swap hoses here. My Appion valve core removers got legs, apparently. I don't know. Somewhere. But this is the same thing, ideally. Alright, we're sitting at 480. I'm sure I could leave this longer and try to boil that water off. Obviously 2 drops in this tiny little loop is quite a bit of water. But some standards, 600, 400, it's good. Okay, it's in a vacuum. It's better than, not vacuuming at all, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, I could probably let this sit here and do its thing, and it might stay at 480, but then, well, we jumped up to 490. So that might be some of that water or any leaks that I may have. But this isn't about this. It's about the pump. It performed. It was able to do it. All right, now this isn't real life. It's not a system. I don't have a system just to go do it on. Maybe down the road I'll do an update on it. It does have like a beep, actually, I noticed. Don't know if it's like goes into standby or something like that. Not quite sure. Could also be the grade of the oil. So earlier I mentioned that it comes with the oil, and we don't know what grade oil this is or anything like that. I typically use the black gold on my vacuum pump, and this has always been great. This is an ISO 400 oil, so that's very important. Just after running it for the 15 minutes or whatever that we were trying to pull a vacuum, I did notice that now the oil is a bit cloudy, so I'd probably recommend replacing the oil. So drain it out of this port just by undoing this, and then filling it up with, ideally, perhaps maybe the better oil, the black gold made by JB. And if you're looking for that oil, I'll link that oil in the description below. But we'll go over some more things here. We'll get a weight on it, and maybe I'll do long term on it. Hopefully I can get maybe a car or a house that I can do, and then we can put this to work. All right, let's get a weight on this. Take this off. Zero that out. So we're at 0. This is with the battery. We're looking at basically 9 pounds. 8 pounds, 15.9 ounces. Basically 9 pounds. Without it, we're looking at 7 pounds, 8.1 ounces, which is what they claim. So good on them. It's a weight, no big deal. Now, for comparison, I've had this Pittsburgh vacuum pump. Nameplate fell off a long time ago. But this is, I'll put information somewhere here or over here about this, because it's been a while since I got this guy. But this is what I use typically. If I don't work for a company, they usually provide, 5, 7, 10 CFM pumps. But this is what I use for the home gamer type stuff. All right, now this guy is weighing in at 19 pounds, 2 ounces. Okay, so that's a pretty big weight difference. Not also, you have to carry an extension cord, or you have to carry other means of getting power to this in the form of these. In the field, in the trade, these, we call these widowmakers. They usually come like this, and people mess up and they'll hook up to 2 lines of power in the ground and they burn up their pump because they're usually 120 volt. So I just modified mine and I hooked this up to the contactor, to the bottom of the contactor, and then just to the body of whatever, and I get power that way. So you got to carry this stuff around, you got to carry the pump around, or if you don't want to do all that, then you can hook up to an outlet or run an extension cord or something like that. So if this is capable of doing what this can do at a smaller footprint and lighter weight, I mean, that's a win. At $140 plus battery and charger, which, I mean, I already got into the Hercules line with the shears. If you haven't seen that video, I'll link that up here. But that's pretty good. I mean, that's a pretty good deal. I like it. And like I said, I'll have to do some long-term testing, maybe do an AC on a car, do an AC on a house, something like that, and see how it does. I've been able to do it with these without a problem. Now let's put this one to the test with this same setup. All right. Now this one's got, I've used it about 3 times. The oil is not very dark. I usually don't let it get dark. Usually about 6 to 8 times I'll change the oil on it with that black gold. So let's try this one out. The Pittsburgh setup, and as you can see on this one as well, there's only 2 fittings. There's a quarter, and then there's the automotive 3/8 on here. No 1/2 inch. So that's another positive on that one. And when you go look at what they're comparing this to, the NAVAC, if you didn't see the first video on this, I'll link it right here. But they're comparing this to the NAVAC, and at the original price on that video, it was a little expensive, right? When they introduced this and I saw the price on it, I said, okay, that's way better of a deal. Now I'm on board for sure. So let's give this guy a try, just to, for comparison. All right, for the sake of comparison, they did about the same. And for the sake of time, I'm not going to let these run forever. It's just a demonstration on something that's not ideal. It's just a little test jig, really. But they both perform about the same. Okay, lighter weight, compact, cordless, slightly heavier, need a cord, need a widowmaker, whatever, okay? That's pretty cool, right? These vacuum pumps, again, like I said, can be used for automotive things. They can be used for household, even small refrigeration, or if you even do walk-in coolers or reach-ins and stuff like that. Perfect, all right? All the trips back and forth, all right? That's going to save you a lot of time, and it's going to save your legs, you know what I'm saying, the knees. Now you look into carrying a large vacuum pump, a commercial vacuum pump, Yellow Jacket, Apion, all those big brands, right? Huge vacuum pumps, right? They're trusted, you know they work, they flow a lot, but in order to take advantage of all of that, you have to use the 1/2 inch fittings, you have to use dedicated vacuum hoses and all that stuff. If you're not looking for into that, or getting crazy with it, because all that stuff is really expensive, this is gonna be it. This Hercules, compact, okay, it's got every fitting you need, whether you're doing automotive, you're doing household, you're repairing your deep freezer, whatever it may be, this is gonna be the guy. Another thing you can do with these is you can create or make a fluid extractor. So you hook up your hose into, say, a jar or a bucket, some kind of container, and then you run a hose from that into, say, a power steering reservoir. You don't have a drain plug, or it's difficult to get to, and you want to suck the oil out of your engine with an extractor. You can use this. Maybe down the road I'll do a video on making one of those, but you can use this guy, and now you're completely cordless. You don't have to worry about having a cord or having a heavy pump. You can have that. So I really like it. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate everyone that got me to over the 1K subs. Big accomplishment for me. Really excited for that. But stay tuned for more content, maybe on the car. I would have done this on the tool bench, but it's covered with parts. So, anywho, till next time, peace.